My portfolio paper examines how toxic leadership impacts organizational culture. In this video, we examine destructive leadership in crisis management. In order to provide a better response for the organization, I would need to integrate each leadership crisis management action. A total of 2 key variables were identified: destructive leadership behaviors and appraisal. How leaders' behaviors are interpreted. Leaders engage in 7 destructive behaviors, 4 related to tasks, and 3 related to relationships. Task crisis-related behaviors mainly resulted in negative consequences. Relationship-related behaviors negatively impact employees' sense of meaning, job satisfaction, and well-being. Leadership ideals appear to be associated with certain behaviors that are unique to crisis management. Great crisis managers often lack the ability to effectively manage relationships, which negatively impacts crisis management. Fors Brandibo, 2020. Many of these leadership actions can also be applied to working with people who are resistant to change. As an example, reinforcing the organization's mission and core values and establishing future priorities, making sense and promoting meaning, creating stability, enhancing confidence, and providing assurance, communicating, sharing leadership, and making decisions would also be important for the leader. Change resistance occurs when followers don't trust, own, believe, or understand why things are changing in the organization. Crisis leadership is a broad construct that includes operational and managerial domains and adds to them a crucial executive domain. The executive domain includes, among other things, maintaining a vision of what was, what is, and what could be, staying attuned to the big picture of crisis situations, promoting meaning, sense-making, sustaining organizational culture and social relationships, and seeking opportunities for the organization that may result from crisis. Staying attuned to the big picture of crisis situations, promoting meaning and seeking sense-making, sustaining organizational culture and social relationships, and seeking opportunities for the organization that may result from crisis. From my research, I've identified 10 key functions of crisis leadership. Number 1, reinforcing the organization's mission and core values and setting a vision and priorities for the future. Effective crisis leaders reinforce the core purpose of values, the organization for its members, constituents, and stakeholders. This provides an important source of stability amidst the uncertainty and threat of crisis. Effective crisis leaders also facilitate a shared vision for what is desired throughout and following the crisis. Such a vision sets an expectation that can unify an organization emotionally, operationally, and politically. It can promote common understanding that enables coordinated action. Number 2, promoting meaning and sense-making. A crisis leadership aims to promote collective understanding of a crisis and help people make meaning of it in ways that bring authentic hope, confidence, and resilience. A shared base of knowledge and understanding. A common operating picture is crucial for collective action in extreme circumstances. Third thing you can do for your crisis management plan is providing assurance, inspiring confidence, and creating stability. Crisis can disrupt, disorient, and damage. They can introduce danger, upheaval, and debilitating ambiguity and uncertainty. A key function of crisis leadership is to provide assurance and inspire confidence that the organization is taking ownership of the situation as much as possible, not allowing the situation to take ownership of the organization. Leaders can promote assurance by modeling, coping, encouraging the expression of feelings, and affirming emotional responses. Leaders can promote stability through regular communication, reasserting routines and rituals, evaluating symbols that convey shared meaning, and reinforcing the organization's mission and core values. Number 4, communicating. Keeping people informed about a crisis, what is being done to address it, and the progress being made is crucial to crisis leadership. Effective communication is vital, developing a common understanding, conveying important information for action, and promoting credibility and trust. A formal communication strategy is essential to any organization, before, during, and after a crisis situation, because crisis can disrupt normal communication channels. Creative use of unconventional means of communication may be necessary. Effective communication allows leaders to maintain quality control over the flow of information within and outside the organization. Number 5, sharing leadership and decision making. Too often, leaders assume that centralized control and decision making must be imposed to confront disruption and uncertainty of crisis. Just the opposite may be needed. Proactively affording people affected by the crisis more influence and control may reduce feelings of insecurity and helplessness and increase a sense of control. Making sure that people have meaningful things to do can calm anxiety, help restore order, and promote a sense of agency. Moreover, tapping multiple points of view can lead to better decision quality. 6, coordinating operations and management. Effective crisis leaders make sure that there are clear protocols and assignments, sufficient resources, and opportunities for management and operations personnel to raise questions, anticipate problems, share information, suggest new solutions, and make decisions themselves. It's important to make sure there's a strong management system in place before crisis comes, and that the components of this system are coherent, well coordinated, and flexible enough to adapt to crisis situations. Number 7, acquiring and allocating resources. Crisis may call on leaders to acquire additional resources and allocate them to meet particular needs. These may include fiscal, material, and technical resources. They may also include space, time, and human resources, especially human service professionals and other sources of service and expertise. Importantly, effective crisis leaders ensure that resources flow to priority areas. Their allocation and use need to be monitored and adjusted as conditions change. Importantly, leaders will need to employ the social resources of the organizational, interpersonal relationships, trust, support, and mutual commitment. Number 8, learning from crisis. Effective crisis leaders take steps to understand the experience of crisis and learn what might be done better in the future. Leaders should reflect and engage others throughout the organization in post-mortem activities to assess what aspects of anticipation, response, and recovery were successful or unsuccessful. Such learning can be directed towards improved crisis planning and prevention, as well as towards developing more effective strategies for response and recovery. Number 9, improving into the future. Effective crisis leaders look for ways to use crisis as a stimulation or a fresh start, as an opportunity for creating a better, more effective organization. Often, the chaos of crisis presents opportunities for innovation. The ideal is for leaders not just to successfully engage and recover from a crisis, but to translate the effort into lasting, positive reform that might never have happened otherwise. Number 10, tending to people and to relationships. Perhaps the most important function of effective crisis leadership, one that cuts across all the other functions and each phase of crisis leadership work, is tending to people and to relationships. Recovery from crisis, no less the survival of an organization, depends on the resilience of its members. And the resilience depends on how leadership understands and responds to the human and social needs, emotions, and behaviors associated with the crisis. Strong, positive social connections can serve as a reservoir of emotional and psychological support that install confidence and provide a means to weather crisis. Indeed, leaders can reduce the duration of a crisis and mitigate its negative effects by addressing the human element before, during, and after the crisis occurs.